Yep, I finished it yesterday.
Oh, wonderful. It's quite slow.
So yeah.
Difference between model-driven app and the uh, Canvas app is that model-driven app is backed by the Microsoft Dataverse, and that we will be discussing this in this module. So let's start with the Microsoft Dataverse first. So what is Dataverse? Anyone would like to explain? Just to refresh the memory, we discussed it yesterday. So just let me just tell you. So Microsoft Dataverse is a scalable data service and platform which lets user to securely store and manage data from different sources. From different sources, I mean by uh, Excel, Outlook, Exchange, SharePoint, SQL Server, Azure streaming devices, uh, Salesforce, anything. Okay, and it will integrate all that data in your business applications like Power Apps, Canvas app, model driven app, and your portals using a basically a common data model to ensure the consistency to the users. Okay, so these are on my screen. You can see some of the features we have for the Microsoft Dataverse. So let's start with the first one, simple to manage. So simple to manage, that means that metadata and data are stored in the cloud. So guys, do you know what is metadata? So metadata is basically the data that defines your data. Okay, so let me just take one example. Let me just show you what is metadata is. Okay, so let me just open. Let's just open this attendance sheet only. Okay, so if you see my screen, that we have these columns, name, email, and dates. But let's suppose if we hide this column, okay, then can anybody tell me what this C column is all about? There is only yes and no. This can be described because all these are emails and these all can be, understood by a layman that these are names. But what about this yes, no? So this column header, this is the basically the column header which tells us the name of the column. It is called metadata. So the data which describe your data or data which tells you about the data and what kind of the data type it will have, since all these are in number format. But if I have something like height or weight or something like that, that will be measured in a whole number. Okay, 170, 180. So again, it will tell us that this column will be storing data in the whole number, in the, and all these column name, email, and all these dates, attendance dates will be in the text format. So the data which describes the data, it's called metadata. So in Microsoft Dataverse, all the data we have is stored metadata, and all the data are stored in the cloud. So you don't have to worry about anything. All your data is stored in Microsoft Cloud securely. Okay, help secure your data, role-based security role. So we discussed this yesterday as well. So you can, apply security by using security groups we have available. So users, like suppose if you have some columns that should be viewed by your manager, not by anyone. Okay, so you can apply filtering there that these columns should be managed by your manager and the normal user will not be able to access those columns. Or if there are any columns that are sensitive columns related to HR or finance, that will be viewed by the people with sufficient privileges. So you can apply all those things in the Microsoft Dataverse. Access your Dynamics 365 data. So if you have built any application in your Dynamics 365 environment, so all the data that you have stored that you have stored in Dynamics 365 app would reflect under your Microsoft Dataverse so that you can see, you can access all that data. Rich metadata, that means that there are plenty of option types. So like the example I showed you, in which we have data. Okay, we have this name, we have email address, we have these dates, but all these are in the text format. But in Dataverse, you would be getting plenty of options while creating any column. You can select data type. In data type, you can select text, and in the data field, you can select email. Or if you have selecting numbers, you can select whole numbers. You can select decimal. You can select currency. So all that options would be available for you in the Microsoft Dataverse. Logic and validation. So basically logic and validation, you can apply rules in your table. You can provide you can create calculated columns. You can create roll up columns. So all that kind of things you can create in your Microsoft Dataverse table. Productivity tools, tables are available within the add-ins in Microsoft Excel to increase the productivity and ensure the data accessibility. So you can access all your data. You can install all your data from Microsoft Excel to the table columns that are available in your Microsoft Dataverse cloud environment. Any question in this one, guys? Introduction to my model driven app. So I have already told you that it is backed by the Microsoft Dataverse. So in this model driven app, unlike from the Canvas app, you can with Canvas app you can build app screen by adding logic code as you go. But in model driven apps can be created with a few simple steps. You don't have to design a complete layout for your model driven app. All you have to do is just add some tables. You have to add some business rules, or you can just add some navigation within your app, and that's it. Your app will be available for you. So in the Canvas app, you have complete control over the appearance and behavior of your app. But in model driven app, the layout is mainly based on the component. All component I meant by the tables, the dashboards, the visuals that you are adding it to it, that are based on that only. Okay. So if you see my screen, rich component focus, no code design environment. Again, no coding experience is required. If you don't know any programming language, you can develop your model driven app. And ability to create complex responsive UIs with a similar UI across a variety of devices for desktop to mobile. So again, you can access, you can design the layout for your model driven app, and you can access it from any of the medium like desktop, mobile, tablet, and it will automatically adjust based on that device. Robust design capabilities. So you can see that it can you can design the apps as per your requirement. So it's not limited for anything. You can design based on your requirement. Okay, next one, apps can be distributed as a solution. So once you have developed any app in your Power Platform, you can share that, you can export that app as a solution, and you can circulate within your department or any other department, and you can just import that app as a solution, and you can start using that app in a different environment. So if you have developed any app in your environment, in your testing environment, or in your development environment, you just have to download it and you just share it with the other people, and they will test it in their own environment. Dataverse and model-driven apps working together. So when creating model-driven apps, it's important to focus on 3 areas. So guys, do you know what is modeling Modeling business data. So basically modeling business data, that means that all the things, all the tables that you are using in your app should be accurate, should not be, should not be irrelevant within your Microsoft Dataverse environment. So make sure whenever you are adding tables, adding, different connectors in your app, that should be relevant to your app, and that logics, that calculated columns, all that things that you are doing in your app, and whatever you're doing and developing in your app should be used by the business, should be as per the business requirement. So first thing, you need to understand the business requirement. Second thing, you should understand which tables, which logic, which connectors are going to help in developing that app. Okay. And next one, defining business processes. So business processes, that means that how the data will flow from one place to another. That, like I told you in the beginning of this session, that for developing model driven app, you don't need to have a coding background, but you should have complete understanding of your business process. You should understand how this process works, what are the key factors that are required to complete a process or to complete a job. So if you understand that, you can create business process flows within your app, and that can, help your users to navigate to the next step required in that business process. Okay. Next one, composing the app. So you have to, like I told you, you have to, use all the features available, and you have to compose your app as per the business requirement. So all the features that are you showing in your app should be as per the business requirement. So once you are finishing that app, you should, do the testing, you do unit testing, you do regression testing, performance testing. All things should be completed by you. Then only you push it for a production environment. Okay. Okay. So guys, have you created any environment yet? Let me just show you how you can create an environment in your Power Apps. So like I have created multiple environments for me. This one is default. This one is coming from a customer insight application. This one is practice. This is all practice environment that have been created by us. Okay. So for creating environment, we have to go to the admin portal. So this is my admin portal homepage. On the left hand side, if I click on environments, you can see all the environments available for me. So on the top, you can see different options available. You can create new, you can refresh, you can recover even the deleted environments, learn about managed environment. We will discuss about this in later section. So these are the environments that have been created in our domain, in our this LODSA 684494 domain. So if you have a company like facebook.com, so all these environment would reflect here. So for creating environment, you have to click new, and you have to select the name of the environment. You have to select the region in which you will be creating environment. So in this, you have the types of environment. So we have sandbox, we have trial, we have production, and this is subscription based, this is trial. So let's understand what are sandbox. So sandbox is basically used for creating backup or for resetting the environment. Trial is basically used for testing and development. And last one is production. So once you have finished testing your application, once you have completed developing your application, you can export that environment, you can export that solution, you can export that environment, and you just change it to a production environment. Okay, so by creating it, you should have be able to create it. Okay, click on next. Create a database for this environment. So it will create a Dataverse environment like we see in this page. So we have this common data services. So this is common data services environment that is database created for us. If you don't want to select, you just select no and you just click on save. Okay, so since I have reached the limit of 2 trials, I won't be able to do it. But you must have that license to in your environment. You would be able to create the environment. So once you create that environment, once you save all those details. So guys, when you are testing, you should use this trial one. Okay, instead of first trial one. These are different environments. So click next. You can provide additional details in this trial subscription base, language, URL, currency. So if you have deployed any E365 Dynamics app, you can add here. So these are all Dynamics 365 apps. So for that, you must have subscription for the Dynamics 365 apps. Otherwise, you won't be able to deploy it. Okay. So once you save it, you would be able to create that environment. Okay, so all these environment that you have created would reflect here. And if I select any environment, so I have different environments. So let's take this one. So I can convert if I have completed doing testing, completed doing development, deployment. I just convert it for production so that it can be shared with the larger audience of your organization. Okay, so we have this limitation of 1 GB database capacity for the trial environment. As per our license, we cannot go beyond 1 GB, and that is already being utilized in the testing. So I won't be able to convert it. Also, that is also limited for this trial based subscription. Okay, so you can see the details of all your environments by going to the environments. And you can see all the environment that have been created by you. So one by default, you can see there is one default environment created. So if you can change it, details of this environment based on your requirement. So you can change details. We will discuss about this in later section. But this is how you can create environments in your Power Platform admin portal. So there is a lab. I hope you guys have done it already. So there is explore sample templates. So creating, let me just show you. So guys, before creating any apps for you, you will have sample applications available for you. Okay, so you can choose from that templates. You can use those templates for creating those apps. So all these apps that you have created would reflect here. All the component, library, everything would reflect here. You can select model driven app and you start working on it. Okay, so if I scroll down, so these are the templates that are available for you. Fundraiser. So on the bottom, you can see what kind of a template it is. So it's model driven canvas app. So it will give you boost start for creating your app. So if you have any app that is that matches these template, you can use those and you can start working on it. So I can use it, model driven app, and you can modify this. So I don't have enough space available for me. Okay, but you would be able to do it. Okay, my space is over. Okay, so this is how you can select template for creating the app. So there is a complete lab for you to perform these actions. Get started with Dataverse. So data components determine what data the app will be based upon. Tables, you guys understand what is table, right? Right guys, you guys understand what is table. So in this Excel, this is my one table. Okay, if I go and I insert table, I can just name this my table. Okay, so this is one table. So I already have a header. Table. Okay, so you can select the template, which template you want to show for your table. So this is my table. My table has rows, my table has columns, different column. So it makes it a table. This is very basic, but I have to tell you. So in Microsoft Dataverse, we have 4 types of table available. So first one is standard table. So whenever you create any environment with the Dataverse as a database, it will create some of the common tables for you. Okay, so that you can add more tables, you can add more columns in that table, but you cannot delete any column from that standard table. So by default, when you create a Microsoft Dataverse database, by selecting the checkbox radio button in the environment, it will create some standard tables. Second one, we have complex table type. So in complex, there server side business logics created, like workflows plugin. So some of the some of the applications like Dynamics 365 use those plugins and create those tables. Again, those tables cannot be accessed by you, and you cannot delete things from that table. Third one, we have restricted. So again, for Dynamics 365 apps, they require functionalities for each user have some details, some information stored for that user based on the license of that Dynamics 365 application, so that they can create, update or delete rows within the restricted table. So it is, you cannot do any modification in the restricted table, but there are some tables that you need to understand that exist with Dynamics 365 application. Fourth one, we have custom table, which you can add in your Microsoft Dataverse. You can add columns in your Dataverse. You can import data from your Excel, and that Excel columns would be able to would reflect in your Microsoft Dataverse. So these are the types of tables available. 4 types: standard, complex, restricted, and custom. Okay, column properties associated with a table and help define the table. So what data type that column will use, what is the limitation for that table? If this is a calculated column, then what are the conditions that are being used in that table? That will define the details of your column, and subsequently all the columns that you have created will make a table. Relationship defines how tables are related together. So you can create, when you create data modeling, when you do data modeling within your data set, you create relationship like 1 to 1, many to many, many to 1, and 1 to 1. So these kind of relationship will be built by you when you are creating any model driven app, and that requires model driven. If you want to retrieve data, or you have some related tables available within your app, then you can use it. Choice column lets users select among predefined options. So you can like a drop down option we have available in Excel. like yes, no, and 0, 1, that kind of stuff can be done in Microsoft Dataverse table. Okay, so table, sorry, data within Dataverse stored within a set of rows called table. So again, like somebody asked me yesterday also, what is data lake and Dataverse? So data and Dataverse, all the details that are you storing, that will be stored in a tabular format. It will have some columns, it will have some rows, and that will be using some data type, whether it's a number, whether it's a date, whether it's a currency, that will be stored within your Dataverse, and that will be used by you in your apps. So if you see, I have this Dataverse, I have this data connectors, and I'm using it in my Power Automate, in my Power Apps, in my Power BI. Okay, and all these are hosted in Azure environment. Any question? Okay. So column, learn about tables. Table describe the kinds of data that is stored in Dataverse. Tables contain column or column that the columns that represent columns in the table. Consider which table will be needed based on real life needs. So again, you need to understand your business problem. What is your requirement? What columns, what tables that your app will be using. So when you are loading those tables, when you are loading those connectors within your app, you make sure that only the data that is required within your app, that will be utilized within your app, should be downloaded, should be uploaded in your Microsoft Dataverse database. Table relationship. So guys, do you know what is relationship? Anyone? Okay, so basically, let me just take example. So I'm taking this example. So I have some data. So I'll take example of the app that we have developed. So in this, we have some assessment number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Great. Owner. Date, I'm just putting it randomly. So I have this table. Let me just create this table for you. I have this table. Okay. And I have another table. So this is my assessment table. So I can name it assessment. And I have another table. Okay, so in this we have questions. Question and questions that is related to which assessment? Number. And you can put question. What is the question? Points. Assessment question. So this is one key for assessment. So I'm just putting it 1 1 1 1 2 1 3 1 4. And this assessment question number, it belongs to assessment 1. This belongs to 2, 2. This belongs to 3. This again belongs to 1. And if I add more here, question. What is Power Platform? And points 100. What is BRA? So on, and some of like answer 50. So this is how we have two tables. So let me just create this as table as well. Okay, so I have this table which has assessment number, and I have this table which has assessment questions, two different tables. So I want to create a relationship so that whenever I'm fetching any information from this table for this assessment number, that would reflect within our app from this table. So like a normal user, what you guys do is you just do a VLOOKUP. Okay, and if you want to fetch who is the owner for this, and in your current table you don't know it, but you want it in this, what you will do is you will do VLOOKUP, and you do it from assessment number, and you just put okay. So I got all the details in my table assessment question from assessment number. Okay, so this is one way by doing it formula, but there are other ways as well in which you can fetch this information if you have created a relationship. So this is one table. So in this is my primary key. So primary key means that all the rows in my table can be described by a unique number. So there is 1, there is 2, there is 3, 4, 5, and so on. And this assessment number, it can be called as a foreign key or a referential key. So whenever we are doing any reference from this table, we will use this assessment number as a foreign key to create a relationship between these two tables. So there are three types of relationship: one to many, one to many. That means every single there are uniques in my table, and they are referencing from many rows in that table. So you see 1 is coming twice, 2 is coming twice, 3 is coming twice, 4 is coming only once. So all these numbers, all these assessment number key are coming more than once. So that means it has many. So this is called one to many. I'll just write one to many. Okay, so this is one kind of a relationship, and there can be another relationship that is many to many. Many to many. Many to many. That means in my table 1, there are also some duplicates. So if I make it, okay, so all these rows assessment number are duplicate. It will make it as a duplicate table. That means my assessment key, assessment number is coming twice, coming more than once, then it will make it many to many. So these two are the relation type that we have in Dataverse. There is one more relationship type, that is one to one. That means that all the uniques in my table are referenced with the unique in my another table. So now my table has unique values in this table: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is another table, 1 to 1, that is 1 to 1, 1 to 1 relationship. So these are the type of relationship that are available. So whenever you want to relate any data point from another table to from one table to another table, you don't have to do a VLOOKUP. You don't have to create formulas and fetch that information from one table to another. All you have to do is you just create a relationship between the tables. Okay. So I have this, if you see my screen, they have primary rooms, sessions related, sessions contact. So one to many to many, and one to many. You won't see one to one here because that is not supported in our Dataverse environment. So this is my parent table, this is my child table, and this is my parent table. Any question in this one, guys? This is a very important topic in terms of data modeling, and if you don't do it rightly, then the data in your app would reflect incorrectly, and the users will be seeing wrong data in your apps. Okay, so again we have types of table. There are two types of table: user or team owned. So by the name itself, you can understand it. What is uh, user based and what is team owned tables. Action that can be performed on these rows can be controlled at the user level. So whatever the action you are doing in those table can be, uh, perform can be, controlled at user level. And if you're using groups, then it will be controlled at a group level. So owning teams can own records, which gives any team member direct access to that record. Users can be member of multiple teams. So this will allow this allow the powerful way of generating or granting permissions to users in a broad way without managing their access to the individual user level. So if you have a team, let's suppose you have a team one, and in my team one we have Shenuka, okay, we have Achala, we have Malki. So these people are from team one, and we have team two, from which we have Fernando, okay, and in which we have, okay, so these are my team, and I have Khwaja here as well. So what I can do is I can create a security group. I can apply a rule. I can apply the access right in my table security. And from that, I can grant access to team one. I can grant access to team two. And let's suppose I have a team three as well. Okay. And in team three, we have Khwaja. So all the permissions that are granted to Khwaja from these two tables can be utilized in accessing those tables. Okay. Organizational owned access to the data is controlled at the organization level. You can, there are certain types of accesses that are being provided within the Power Apps Dataverse environment. So you can set which users will be gaining access, and you can grant them access based on their role. Any question in this one? Also, we have this activity table. So that will define email, task, phone number, meeting time, phone time, appointment. All those detail can be tracked from this activity table. So if you see appointment, email, fax, letter, phone call, recurring appointment, task. So you can create a timeline in which you can, create notes, reminders for yourself, or for if you are using a managed account. So users will see the notes that you have put in the chat box. So if you have a rotational shift, you are working on a customer support, and there is an open topic, or there is an open case, and you have to pass it to the guy who is going to work in the next shift. You can put the task that make a call at 9:30 p.m. to Susie, or to check the uh, Power App connector for this account. So all kind of tasks you can create in your Microsoft Dataverse environment. You can create activity tables in your Microsoft Dataverse table. So we have again one lab. So guys, once we complete all these topics, you guys can work on your labs. But first we should complete this section. So as of now, any question regarding tables, relationship, any question, any doubt, any topic you would like me to revisit? Okay, that's good. Get started with model-driven apps and Power Apps. So again, the data, define the data the app will be based upon. User interface, so determine how user interact with the app. Logic, determine what business processes, rules and automation the app will have. Visualization, determine what type of data and reporting the app will show. So if you want to add some dashboards from your Power BI, or from your custom dashboards that you have created in your Power Apps, that can be incorporated in your model driven app, and that can be, that will be a great way for reporting, that if your report is if your app is being used by the senior stakeholders of your organization, they will be able to get the result. They will be getting the dynamic reports, since the data is all the data is hosted on Microsoft Dataverse. So they will see the real-time changes in your dashboards or in your visualization that you have added within your Power Apps model-driven app. Tables, we have seen columns, we have seen relationship, we have seen column choices, we have seen. So app determines the app fundamentals like components, property, the client type, and the URL. Sitemap. We have, okay. Let me just show you in the app only. So I have all these apps available for me in my environment. Let me just try this app only. Let me see if this is the one. So guys, this is one app that I have that being built by me for the demo. So in this app, you can see there are 3 different navigations available. In the bottom, you can see there are different sitemap options: assessment, administration, Power BI dashboard, demo dashboard, new. So you can select which page you want to see. Okay, let me just show you how in the model driven app studio. So you click on any app, you click on add it, and it will take you to this Power App Studio for model driven app. So guys, some of the features are not available in this view. Then we have to switch to the classic by clicking on the top icon on this page. So this is my app designer in which you will be designing your app. So you can see sitemap, you can see dashboards, you can see entities, basically the tables that are being used within my app. Okay, so I've used forms, views, chart, dashboards, knowledge table, knowledge assessment. All there is one more uh, navigation for user. So if I click on, I've one created dashboard as well. There is a business process flow as well that has been created within this app. And if you click on this icon, this pencil icon, you can click on this to edit the sitemap. So you see there assessment, administration, Power BI, demo, new area. All these are created by me within my app designer. And all these things can be, changed by you. I can edit this. I can change the look and feel of this. I can add more details within this. Let me just show you from a scratch when you create an app. Let me just go back to model driven app. Okay, so my app has been created. Okay, so I can add things from here. I can see there is sub area. So I can, in this sub area, you can add more details here. You can add group. You can, so there is one group, there is another group. You can add subgroup, add table. Okay, so you see I have added this table Azure Active Directory users within my app, within this group, in this subgroup. So let me show you how in this classic view, how this app would look like. Okay. So if I click on my, so guys, you see there is only one table. Entity is basically the table. So there is only one table added in my app that is reflecting here. So I can, there is no dashboard, there is no business process flow. So you see there is one area. So I can change the details. I can edit this. I can rename it to my users, my account users. Okay. In subgroup, there is only the or detail is already provided. So I can just users. Okay. So this is my one area. Second, I can drag another area. This is my another area. In this, I can add more things. I can add group, and after that, I can add sub area. So in sub area, I can provide what kind of details I want to show within my this view. So there are two views. One is my account user. So let me just create. So let me just name it dashboard. Okay. So I can just select demo dashboard Power BI. That's it. So I have created it, and if I click here, I can just save it. What is the error? There is an error account users group one. Okay. What is the error? Okay. Entity. I'm selecting entity as a table type. I can select AAD user. I have to publish this app. So I have created my site map, how my app's interface would look like. Now I have to validate it. There is one warning. Okay, so there is, you can ignore this warning. You can play it. So when you play it, it will show you this app. So you see, I have this users in my account user. I have this new area in which my dashboard would appear. So this is how you can develop your uh, Power Apps model driven app. So I've linked a Power BI dashboard within my Power Apps, and you can just navigate from different pages. You can see all the users, all the active users I have. You can change details. You can, if you have enough permission, you can modify details here within this app. Any question, guys? I can add more details here. So there is one user. I can add another sub area. So I'll just name it entity. Where did okay. Okay, I think we are okay. Okay, that's why. So we are in this Contoso environment. That's why that column is not appearing. So let me just use account only. Okay. Save and close. Publish. So guys, now you see we have two entities. One is AD user, second is account. If I play it again, okay. So now you see we have two sub areas. One is user, second is account. My active accounts. You can change the view from the top. You can create your own views. We will discuss this. But right now, this is the basic model-driven app in which you can add groups, you can add sub areas, you can add sitemap, you can select different areas to navigate within your app. Open in Power BI. So since it's a Power BI dashboard, you can just click on it and it will show it in your Power BI app. Okay. Sitemap, we have seen. Form, include a set of data entry columns for a given table. View defines how a list of rows or specific table appear in your app. Logic, business process flow. Let me just show you that as well. Let me just go back to my this environment. Okay. Okay. So I have this knowledge assessment application in which I can create any assessment like I showed you in the Excel example. So let me just create one assessment. Let me just call it demo. Okay. So on the top on this orange screen, you can see my business process flow. How this will flow. This is assessment process. Whenever any user within your organization is creating assessment, he will follow these steps. So in this, you will see the pass. You can fill details, passing marks. You can select total points. You can select notify manager. You can select create questions. Okay. In questions, you can create new question. Okay. So this is my business rule that at least one answer must have point more than 0. Since I have no answer here, that's why it is giving me this error. So we have created a business rule here that all questions should have some answer. And we have created this flow, business process, this is cloud flow, in which if our question type is scenario, then it will ask for scenario description. But for simple, it will not ask for any detail. So these kind of business rules, business process flow, business cloud flows that can be incorporated in your model-driven app. Any question, guys? And this is basically a form. Yeah. Yeah, Viduranga, are you saying something?
Yeah, yes, Hassan, your previous example, that dashboard case, you are already created those dashboard in Power BI and you are imported to Power Apps, right?
Correct.
And you assign some sort of permission to a requested required user group.
Correct. So in Power BI, we have workspaces. Okay, so if you have a Power BI workspace and you have, published a dashboard or you have published a report there, all you have to do is you have to provide that workspace access to the users who are going to consume those reports. Okay, so if they have access to that dashboard, if they have access to that workspace, then only that would reflect in their Power Apps. Since all this data are connected in Microsoft, if they don't have access in Power BI, they won't be able to access in this Power Apps as well. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So this is how you can create dashboards. You can incorporate dashboard within your app. Let me just discard it. You can create your custom dashboards within Power Apps as well. You don't have to, import Power BI dashboards. You can create your own dashboards as well. Actions, we have seen business rule, we have seen flows. We have seen business process flows. Visualization. So you have seen that we have incorporated a complete Power BI dashboard. Also, if you see this screen, this is one chart I have created in Power App only, in my DataWorks solution only, in which I have selected the owner, and in the bottom I have selected total points. So this is how you can create your own charts in Power Apps as well. Dashboards we have seen. Embedded Microsoft Power BI, we have seen that how you can just add Power BI tiles, Power BI dashboards in your model-driven app. Designing model-driven app business requirement, that you should understand the business process flow. All the things should be well documented. Data model, so that you can create relationships between your tables that are being used within your app, so that you can fetch information from one table to another table, or from one form to another form. Business logic, that we have discussed, that if you have to create an assessment, you have to provide provide them information that this step is required to complete this process. Output, we have seen that how we can create a Power BI dashboard, or how we can create a charts using the Power Apps DataWorks. Accelerator, so if you have any third-party accelerators that you want to add in your report, you can do that as well. So this is, we have seen already that here is a quick look at the app designer. So we have seen, I've created an app design for you, in which we have sitemap for navigation within the app. Dashboards, we have one dashboard created. We have entity, all the columns, all the tables that are used within your app would reflect there. We have seen, we have a lab, complete lab, so that you guys can, perform all those steps in those labs to create a model-driven app. Business requirements. So guys, I'm focusing on this thing from the beginning, that you don't need coding experience, but you need business understanding, complete business understanding in developing the app. So as a functional consultant or as a Power App maker, you should understand how your process works. You should understand what are the privileges level. You should understand how the data is stored within your organization. You should understand that we have SQL Server, we have flat files like Excel, we have any other Salesforce connector, we have O365 connectors. So all these things you understand thoroughly. And once you understand all those things, once you have meetings with your stakeholders, you understand the requirement, make sure that everything you have documenting properly, so that you understand their business requirement and you are meeting their requirement. Okay, so you have to work on the business requirement, and then only you should start developing your app. Okay, so discuss security, how your data will be secured. Like we have seen that you can secure your data by applying the customer groups applying the security groups within your app, how you can provide access to the workspaces of Power BI. So consider how securing your app's data affect your app and what security model best support your business needs. So all these things should be taken care before developing an app. Okay, so all the data protection, that you are doing should be should be taken with the help of IT team, that we are going to use this data and there should be no complications. So you should understand all those things, and you should provide right access level to those users. Okay, does your app need to be available when the user is disconnected from the internet? So you can do stuff like that as well, in which your users can work within your app, and if there is any disconnect, if they want to work offline, that will be saved in your cache, and that when they are online they will be saved in your app as well. So all this requirement should be captured correctly and should be well documented. Then only you should start developing your app. Data model. So data model, I have showed you that in this example. So I have one table, I have another table. So in this table, I have created a view, one-to-many view. So this is my table. Okay, and in this I have created one-to-one relationship. And let's suppose I have another table, okay, of my users, username, assessment, or user ID. So I have different users. Okay. So there is my assessment table. This is my user table. So I can create a relationship between these two as well. So can anybody tell me what should be the key that will be used for creating this relationship? Anyone? So we will create a relationship using this this column. Okay, this is bad. And this column. So this will create my one-to-one or one-to-many relationship. One-to-many relationship, because Khwaja can be taking assessment 3 as well. Okay. So this is how you can create relationship. You can create relationship between the tables within your Microsoft Dataverse. User interface and user experience. So guys, you can create forms. So you have seen this app in which you have created this form. So I have this knowledge assessment table and I have created this form. So you can design this form based on your requirement, how this form would look like. So if I go in my Microsoft Dataverse, knowledge assessment. So these are the data experience, forms, views, chart, dashboard. You can create business rule. You can create commands. Let's me go to the form and let me see my main form, how this form would look. So if I click on edit, so guys, you see the same view that was appearing in my app is showing here. I can change the layout. I can move the columns up, down as per my requirement. I can add more tables within this. I can add more columns, status, and all the changes I'm doing in my form would reflect in this app as well. So based on your requirement, based on the your company's policy, based on your uh, design company's graphical design, you can select how it will look and all the things that are you are performing in your app. So UI, user experience, is very important. So if your app is not showing the right data, if your app is not it's very clumsy, it has so many information required, your form has tons of information required to fill the form, then users will stop doing it. They will say that this is very complex, we will not fill this data. So make sure whenever you're creating forms, you are asking for relevant information, you are asking for the limited information as well, and it should be in the proper format. So if you are asking for name and then again you are asking for something else like this one, I'm asking title, and in the bottom I'm asking start date, end date. Okay, so this is all relatable. This is related to date, this is difficulty created by, passing score, notify manager. So all these things should be, all the related columns should come in the series. They should be not coming from far behind, they are in wrong way. Also, they should follow a proper set of instructions. So you can select the column layout. So I've selected 2 columns, I can select 1 column, I can select 4 columns. Now my table would have 4 columns. So this is how you can design your forms so that users will fill the details correctly in your form. Business logic and output, we have seen in this app only that whenever you're creating an assessment, it will ask for information that I have to provide passing score, I have to provide total points, sorry, I have to provide if I have to notify the manager. So you see that next option is not coming here because total points are not available here. So I have to go here. Okay. Start date, let's just put tomorrow's date, end date, difficulty level, you can select and just save it. Okay, so now that next stage is coming up. You see, it will give us error. Create question required field must be filled. So when I go here, if I click question, okay, answer, good, 100, So this is my business rule. I have to fill all those details. So you won't be able to move from one point to another point if you don't fill all those detail, and this business flows, business rule will help you to create those forms. Okay, so now I would be able to move to next stage. Okay, create questions. I've already created. Refresh. Okay. Now I move from this process to this process, status active, and if I finish, it will just finish it off. Okay, so guys, there are some third-party accelerators available. If you want to develop these apps, you can you can leverage these accelerators for creating your app. Automotive, financial service, healthcare, education, non-profit, manufacturing. App module, we have seen site navigation, dashboards we have seen, business process flows we have seen, forms we have seen, views we have seen, charts we have seen. Views, I'll just show you view as well. I think I can stress. So on this, you can select views if you have created any. So there is no view created by me, so there is only one view. Otherwise, you can create views here and that would reflect here. So if I go here, views, so I can see there are different views available. I can edit this view. Okay, I can edit this view. So I'm editing this view just to show you how you can create different views within your app. I'm removing this. If I want to add new column, all I have to do is I just have to add it here. Okay, and in save, I just have to click this down caret and select save as. Name, I'm just put demo 26. Okay guys, this is how you can create views, charts we have seen. App designer, we have seen that application navigation is controlled by editing the sitemap, and all table forms, views, charts and dashboard will be included. Items can be removed to include only what is needed for that. Sitemap, we have seen, we have created different areas to navigate within the app. So area, group, subgroup. In subgroup, you can select whether you want to show dashboard, whether you want to show entity. All those things can be performed in the sitemap designer. So we have a app, we have a lab 2 for this module. Okay. Okay. Incorporate business process flow. So before moving to this topic, guys, do you have any question related to app designer for the model driven app?
Also, a small clarification. So what's the main difference between Canvas app and model driven app, actually I want to know once we receive the user requirement, whether how we decide whether we going to Canvas app or model driven app.
Okay. So the major difference between Canvas and model driven app is the design and the component that are being used in your app. Okay. So if you want to create a simple app in which you don't want to, show data in a tabular form, if you want to, let me just show you two apps and you just tell me the difference between these two. Okay. You can develop both from the same data set. Where is that app? Data, sorry, in the apps. Okay. I think my license has expired. Okay, so let me just tell you as a layman. So whenever you are developing a model driven app, okay, so it is first backed by the Microsoft data hours only. Okay, so if you want to create an app and that is a ready-made app in which you are just want to use some data from Salesforce or from SharePoint or any other medium. Okay, instead of Dataverse, you have to use from different connectors, and you know that in your Dataverse environment, all those connectors are not available. So what you can do is you can just create Canvas driven app because it is not dependent on Microsoft Dataverse. But model driven app is completely based on the Dataverse. So in that you can create business rules. So if you want to create business rules, you want to navigate, you want your users to be navigated by a business process flow so that they can see the information correctly and they fill the business want to navigate that they can see the information correctly and they fill the information correctly, then you will use business process flow in your model driven app. So again, model driven app in which you want to educate your users, you want to follow correct process, and there are different topics available like dashboard which can be incorporated in Canvas app and model driven app as well. Okay, so only few differences are there. If you want to create what you see is what you get. This is the line which we use in Microsoft, that everything, all the controls is all the view that you are developing can be adjusted by, can be managed by. But in model driven app, again, there are certain rules that all the data will look like in a tabular format, and based on the access right, they will see the information that is being provided to them, all the access right that are being granted to them. So all kind of things can be performed in the model driven app. Workflows, actions. Okay, any question? I hope that answered your question.
Okay, thank you, Hassan.
Okay, and in terms of technicality, there are options to reverse the actions that are performed by you in the Canvas app. Okay, so if you have, so basically you must understand version controlling. So if I do any change in my Canvas app today, and your client or your stakeholder is saying that we don't want this change, please revert it back to the previous version. So that functionality is available in Canvas app, but that will not be available in model driven app. Okay. So you see on this, you can have different connectors available for you. Since I've already selected, I can select anything. But for model driven app, everything should be available within your SharePoint. So add data. So I can add my SharePoint site as well. I have to provide the link of my SharePoint site. I have to provide the site detail, and that can be incorporated within my app. Okay, but if you want to do similar thing in your model driven app, then you should have, let me show you. There should be a connector created. So I have to create that connector table. Sorry. Here, connections. So you see all these connectors are created. I have to connect it. I have to connect my SharePoint connector in my Microsoft Dataverse. Okay. Okay, there is some issue. You got my point, right? So this is how you have to create connectors first, then only, okay, so there is already a connector created, that's why it is not letting me do it. Okay, so first you have to create all those connectors, you have to incorporate all the data from this connectors to your Microsoft Dataverse, then only you can incorporate those tables, those data within your app. But for Canvas app, you can do it directly, and all the tables that are available in your app would reflect it. Okay, so next topic we have is incorporate business process flow. So guys, I have shown you how you can show them to follow up particular business process within your app. So if you create any flow in your any assessment, it will guide you what all the information is required to move from one step to another. And until you finish it, it will not let you complete this process. So I've created this assessment process. Now it will ask me for the passing score. Finish. Create questions. Yes. Finish. Okay. So this is how I have added two steps in my knowledge assessment. Solutions. Tables. From here you can create your business rules. So there are two rules created. I can create new business rule. So I can provide information, what condition I want to show in my rule, that source is entity, approval status, is equal to waiting. Okay, so if my approval status is waiting, then I will show message. Yes, I can show the message. Approval pending. Okay, so if my status is waiting, it will show that it is pending. Otherwise, it will show any value. You can set default value. Title value. Sorry, value. You can just provide a field. This is how you can create business rule. Okay, guys. So we have a lab 2 that will be help you to understand this model driven app better. Solutions are basically a container to track the changes you make to the Dataverse, Power Apps, and Power Automate. So guys, you have seen that all the things we are doing is under this solution tab. So all these are the solutions that are being added in my environment KM practice. So I can add a new solution, I can import solution, I can export any solution. If I want to export this solution, I can just export it and I can import it in any other environment. So all the information, all the apps, all the workflows, all the business process flows, all the chatbots that you are performing in your environment will be stored within your solution. I have this CDS practice, so I can see all the details. So there are 4 chatbots created, 4 choices created, 2 cloud flows created, connections created, 2 connections created, Microsoft Dataverse, MSN Weather, dashboard, 1 dashboard connected, processes, assessment process, site maps, Dataverse Canvas app, demo M25, this we discussed yesterday. All the tables that I have created, the custom tables, all would appear here. So this is my solution which contains every single data point, every single app, every single forms, everything will be stored in your solution. So it's a container to track the changes you make to the Dataverse, Power App, and Power Automate flows. So solution are how you transport and install changes to target environments. Okay, so they are basically, guys, you must have heard about the software development cycle. So first you develop an application. Okay, after developing your application, you send it for testing. And once the testing completes, the testing teams gives you approval, you push it for the next level, that is production environment. So in the production environment, it will be shared for the broader audience. So Microsoft Dynamics 3 apps are installed using solutions. Third-party apps provided by independent software vendors also are solutions. So you can install apps from different vendors. So like I showed you, if you have any sort, if you are outsourcing your app development from some third party or from any other vendor, they will just create an app for you, and all you have to do is you just have to import that solution. And once you import that solution, once you import that solution, that package, all the information within that package will be created in your environment, and you can use it for production, for testing, for development in your business process. Okay, so this is one app, okay, in which we have tables, we have security roles, device ordering app role, device procurement app role, process flows, order approval flow, device procurement process. So you will be working on this in your lab. That will give you a better understanding of this, the things we are discussing. Okay, so there are basically two types of solution. So whenever you import any solution, if I import any solution, okay, so I have this solution. So it will ask me for different things, whether you want to create a managed solution or if you want to create an unmanaged solution. So you see package type unmanaged. Since our environment is a trial environment, we won't be able to change it to the managed solution. So let me just tell you what is managed. Used, unmanaged, basically unmanaged solution when you are just developing your app, when you are testing your app, and once you finishing testing and development and you get go ahead from your stakeholder, once you get go ahead from your user acceptance teams that this app is working fine, all the modules are working correctly, all the calculations are correct, then you export that solution and then you import that solution as a managed solution. Okay, so once you completed all the testing development, you just download it as a managed solution and you import it in your environment. Solution components are categorized to track the individual item associated with the solution. So everything, apps, tables, choices, columns, everything will be saved in that file, the zip file I showed you. Components type includes app models, model and canvas app, Power Automate flows, security components. Some components, for example, forms, views, chart, all columns, all the subcomponents of the table, everything will be stored in that solution. And reference data is not included as a solution number. So if you are using any reference within in your table, if you are referencing any column, if you have created calculated columns that is using relationship from other table, then you have to do one thing. So let me show you what then you have to do it, what you need to do it. So take this as an example. So I have this canvas app, I have selected it. You need to click on this add required objects, and by clicking on show dependency, it will show what are the dependencies for this app. Dependent object 0, required object 0. So this way you can import all the dependency for this app and that will be added within your solution. Okay, so this is how you can fix this dependency issue when you import or export any solution. Make sure they are not dependencies and the dependency are included within your solution. Create a solution. So it's very simple. You have to go back, you have to create new, you have to select demo underscore 26, you have to select a publisher, default, or you can select CDS, add details, configuration page, anything else. You just click on create. So my solution has been created, demo 26, and I can start working on this solution. I can add tables here. I can create workflows here. So there are currently 0 tables. I can add app, I can add Canvas app, I can add process, business process flow, I can add desktop flow, I can add chatbots, I can add dashboard like Power BI embedded reports. I can add table. Demo 26, that is the name of my table. Primary column, that is name. Just save it. Text. So guys, this is how you can create a solution and you can start creating app within that solution. And once you have completed your development testing, you can just export it and you can import it as a managed solution. Currently it is unmanaged because we are in a trial domain. This is our trial environment. Okay, so let's talk about this rich metadata we have in the Microsoft Dataverse. So there are different types of data types available: text, text area, email, URL, ticker symbol. Let me just show you. So I have created this demo table. Now I'll create one column to show you. So display name demo. So if I click on this data type, you get plenty of options. Even in text, you get plain text, text area, rich text, email, phone number, ticker, URL, plain text, rich idea. In number, you can select whether you want whole number, decimal, float, language, duration, time, behavior, simple, calculated, roll up. So calculated is like you want to do calculation based on the rows of your table, that correct. Okay, roll up is basically used if you want to do calculations or you want to reference any child table within your parent table. Okay, so just to add that column within your app, and when you click on it, save and edit, my column has been created. Now I have to provide the reference detail within my yeah. So I've created a reference roll-up column. So I have to provide related entity. So I have to provide the table in which there is a relation. Since there is no relationship created between this table or any other table, that's why no option is coming up. Okay, so this is how you can create columns if you want to add more columns within your app, like email. So we have a dedicated data type available for email. Just select email, simple, optional. You can make this, it's a required field, or if it's not required field for your forms. Okay, you can select character count 100. This is not required. And auditing, if you want this column to be audited based on your business requirement, then you can select this checkbox. Enable column security, sortable. So you can apply column security, secure at a higher level than the table. Okay, so this is what I told you. If you want to secure any column within your table, then you need to select this option. Okay, so now in my demo table, I have two columns created, and these are the default columns, guys. You can see created by, created on. This is created by me, demo last updated on, demo state, demo 26. This is also created by me, email. So some of the columns, like I told you, these are the standard columns that are created within your table. Okay, so you cannot delete it. You can just remove it from the environment. See, cannot be deleted since
Yep, I finished it yesterday.
oh, wonderful. Any challenges?
It's quite slow.
It's quite slow.
So yeah.
Data types available within Microsoft Dataverse. That's why we call it rich metadata. So based on the columns requirement, you can select the data type. And these are the calculated and roll up columns. Okay. So roll up, I told you there should be a relationship and it can reference data from the related table to the parent table. Also guys, one limitation for roll up column is that you can only create this data type whole number, decimal, currency or date time for the roll up column. You cannot create single line, you cannot create multiple line, you cannot create floating point for the roll up column. Similarly for calculated, you cannot create multiple line, you cannot create floating point, you cannot create multi select. But for simple column, you can create all these data, you can use all these data types. User local, that means stores in how it was UTC converts it to yoga. So basically if you select this option, it will just save the data time as per your date, as per your time zone. Okay, so if I select any, okay, time zone adjustment, you can select time zone independent, you can select user local. So if I'm working on a IST standard time 5:30 and you guys working on a UST time, so it will automatically change the time based on your local time zone. Calculated column, we have already discussed that calculated column is uh, based on the rows only. It's read only row column and parent column can include rolled up columns in the calculation. Okay, so no out of the box calculation column. OOB, that means out of the box. Roll up column, like I told you, on demand, read only, one-to-one relationship should be with the parent and child table. Can roll up calculated columns, can use hierarchies of related rows, can filter across related tables. Okay, so guys, there is some restriction for the roll up columns. So first one is you cannot have more than 100 roll up columns within your organization, and there can be only 10 roll up columns in each table. You can only have one primary column for each custom table. Searchable column, you can only have 5 searchable columns for each table. Any question in this one, guys? Any question? Auto numbering, yeah, this is very important topic. This is very cool feature that we have. So whenever you're creating any data and you want a primary key that will uniquely identifies every single row, so you can use this option for creating this field. So you can select this auto number and you can show date prefixed. You can select string prefixed. So if I show PL100 number of digits, I can select 6, seed value 1000. So this is how my auto number column would look like. PL100 -00100. Seed value I can select 0. So this is how it will look. PL100 001, PL100 002. If I can select 4, this is how you can create a primary key auto number. And so this is so as long as you add data within your table, within your custom table, it will auto increment based on the condition you have provided. Alternate key, like we have told you that there can be 5 alternate keys. If you have multiple columns like this one, like auto number, that this is our primary key. You have to have more columns like this, which can uniquely identifies your table, so that you can create keys within your environment, within your account, within your table. Okay, so keys, if I go here on keys, there is no key created. I can create new key. Okay, test. Save. So I have created this key. So guys, we have a lab too, in which create and manage columns within a table in Dataverse. Okay. Okay. Guys, let's take a 15-minute break. Then we will continue with this topic. Okay. Let's meet at 4. Hi guys. Let's just continue with our topic. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Let's start it. Okay. So guys, we were discussing about how we can, restrict the privileges, restrict the access to the tables, to the columns, to the rows of the tables that we have created in our Microsoft Dataverse. So that can be implemented using the security roles feature that is available in Power Platform Admin Portal. Okay, so before jumping to that, let me show you the kind of environment we have in Power Platform. Production I've already explained that this is for the permanent work for the larger audience so that it can be published to the whole organization or a particular business unit once it is, finally testing and the development completed. Default that we have a default environment in each tenant, in each Power Platform tenant. It will be created automatically. It has certain sorry. It has certain data available already. Sandbox, these are non-productive environments which offer features like copy and reset. And sandbox environment are used for development and testing. So again, this is more like a trial environment, but in this you can provision a sandbox environment from production to sandbox, which cannot be. You can see that you can be restricted. Provisioning sandbox environment can be restricted to admins. Okay, so it can be restricted by the admins. You can restrict the sandbox creation by the admin, but converting from a production to a sandbox environment cannot be blocked. So if you have a production environment, so if your user have access for the environment creation and he have access to the sandbox, he can convert it back to the sandbox environment. Okay, again, trial environment, it is for development and testing. Developer environment, this is special kind of environment. Okay, this special environment intended only for the use of for the owner. They can't be shared with other users. Also, we have a Teams type environment as well. Okay, when you create apps through Teams app, Microsoft Teams app, so it will create a environment, Teams type of environment within your environment list. So understand environment roles. So there are two types of roles: system administrator role and the environment maker role. So system administrator role has all the access for all the environment, so he can perform all the administrative actions in your environment. But environment maker can create resources like apps, gateways, connectors, and flows and Power Automate. So this is one difference between system admin role and the Power Maker role. Any question in this one, guys? Okay, security model, control access to the rows. So you can access, like I told you, if you can assign the owner for that role and that owner can provide access to the different users we have in the organization. Control access to UI elements, forms, dashboard, business process flows, control access to features, mobile, export to Excel, print, etc. And simplify the user experience. User interface will hide tables, rows, and features a user do not have the privilege to use. So all kind of things can be achieved. All the security restriction can be achieved using the security model. Key security components, business units. So business units can be, you can call it department, provide a framework for your organization security structure. Privileges indicate what actions a user can perform on each table. Access level, define which row for that table the user can perform actions on. Security roles, define the specific permission a user or team has. So let's just create one security role. So let me show you how you can create a security role so that you guys can understand it better. So first you need to go to the admin portal, adminplatform.microsoft.com, and make sure you have the role enabled, Power Platform admin role enabled for you. You go to the environments. So you can see all the environments created: default, trial, Microsoft Teams. So I'm just selecting my environment. I'm selecting setting. So in this setting, you can see this user and permission. So under user and permission, you can see application users, business units, column security profile, hierarchy security, license role mapping, mobile configuration, position, security roles, teams, users. So you can create users, you can create security roles. So let's just click on security roles. And here you can see all the roles. So these are the basic roles. These are system defined roles that are showing up here, but you can create new roles. So in role, you can name it demo and member privilege inheritance. Team privilege only. You can select direct user, core records. So these are the standard tables, standard records and that are created within your organization. This is sales record. There is nothing right now. Service article template, knowledge article, article image, interaction insight, knowledge site, business management, business unit, everything is here. Service management, calendar, knowledge article, SLA, customization, missing entities, business process flows. So if you have created any flow within your organization, so like I have created this customer check assessment process. So I can give read access, I can give write access, I can give write, delete, append. So I'm giving all the rights to this role. Okay. And we have this custom entities. So all the tables that you have created within this environment, or all the tables that are added from the Microsoft Dynamics 365 apps or created by you. So you can provide access to that table to your users. So this table I have created today. So if I click once, it will give it user level permission. If I click on twice, it will give business unit level permission. And if I click parent child business unit, so that means if your parent has access to this table, and then your child would also have the access to that particular table. Okay. Similar, sorry, if your child has access to a table, then your parent would also, all the users in your parent business unit would also inherit the access from that from that particular child access. Last one, we have organization level. So if you're I'm giving this organization level, so anyone in your organization would be able to access this table. So this is how you can modify it by clicking on each access level. So these are all access levels, so I can hide it. So these are the different privilege levels available for a record. I can just save and close. Okay. So I have created this. So that role would start reflecting here. Okay. So this is how you can create security roles in Power Platform Admin Portal. Business units provide framework for your organization structure, contains users, teams, security roles, security, data access, including report, define boundaries for security role, access level. First business unit is the root business unit. So if you have a organization in which you have one business unit that contains product, in that product you have product A, product B, product C. So that top one on that hierarchy will be called as root business unit. Child business units linked in a hierarchy similar to an organization chart, but you do not have to replicate your organization chart. Create only the business unit need to meet the security needs. Okay, so this is all based on the requirement and security roles explained. We just saw it. Permission defined by privilege and access levels. All users must be assigned at least one security role. So all users should have a security role assigned to them from directly from a user or from a team. Option for assigning security roles to user. Modify the default role before you assign them. Create copies of the default role as a template. Create a new security role. Add the privilege you require, usually only for roles within the few privileges. So guys, we have seen how we have defined different privileges in our role, all the custom entities, all the business process flows. This is how you can create business roles in your environment. So this is my business unit. This is basically the environment name that is being created. Look for more records. There will be no record will appear here since we are in this environment. Okay, so business unit, basically the environment in which you have created the role. The most basic security units in the Microsoft Dynamics 365. Okay, we define what actions a user can perform on each table. We have seen this. If you have given them access to create, if you have given access to write, if you have given them access to delete, append, all kind of security level you can provide them. Access levels work in conjunction with the privileges. Privileges indicates what actions a user can perform on each table. Access level define which rows for that table the user can perform actions upon. So you can provide row level security. So if let's suppose you have a data business level data. Let me just show you an Excel. So you have some data, you have some sales data. Okay, this is sales data in which you have sales employee, department, target, sales target, sales actual, deals. Okay, employee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Department, BPO, IT, analytics, finance, okay, HR. So we have different department enabled, and we have sales target for this one for 100 million, for this one sales achieved 120, and so on. So you can apply row level security. So if that user belongs to only this analytics department, or user can belongs to IT department, then only he will be able to see the data related to that particular department only. So this is how you can implement your security within your app, within your Microsoft security roles. You can define which table should be based on the business unit, which table should be based on the organization level, which should use a parent-child relationship business unit. So all these things can be achieved. So access level are based on the combination of business unit to which user belong. So if your user belong to IT, he will see all the data related to IT. If he belongs to HR data would reflect. Ownership, if you have, if you are a manager and if you want to see the details, if you are basically region, North, okay, so basically you have some data and you are the manager. So you can just select which region you belong to. So that ownership will be provided to you. All that. So you are the owner for the north, then you will be responsible for providing access to that particular data to rest of the members. Okay, so we have a custom role lab available for you so that you can understand more from the applications perspective how it works. Okay, so guys, we have this topic left, document and test your Power applications, but we have labs too. We have so many labs pending. So we can complete this topic tomorrow. But right now I would request you to complete all these labs that we have gone through in module 2. Okay. So when you log into your Extreme Labs, you would be able to see the labs that are required to complete in this module. Okay, guys, please complete your labs and let me know if you have any question. So we have almost 53 minutes left for today's session, but this lab will take more than 1 hour. So I would suggest you to start working and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, guys, thank you. I'm on the call. You can just ask me if you face any challenges or if you need any guidance. Yeah, also I would need to take your attendance so you guys can start working on. Let me just take your attendance by seeing your name. Okay, Achala is there. We have Dhanushka. No. Fernando is there. Janodaya. Srivardhana. He's there. Miss Kavishka is there. Mike is there. New Sam is there.